Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me greet all these wonderful members that I have here. Thank you for joining me. Yep is in the house. Who else? Peekaboo. I've got words I see you love. Thank you for stopping by. Nicole, welcome. Liz, SW, Natalie, welcome. Who else? Who else? Who else? Oh my gosh. Stacy, how you doing? Jimmy, how you doing? Teresa is here. Grandma's here. Tinkle Tits, how you doing, love? Hope you're doing well. Jess 360, Queen Bella, Liz, Crescencia. Hold up 1 minute, guys. Adas, Chico. Sorry, I had somebody over here. Jennifer. Oh my gosh. Oki, welcome. Anna, how you doing? Sarah Silva, welcome. Tinkle, I said hello already. All right, everybody come through. Perry, welcome. Blonde, Desiree, Dutch, how you doing? Everybody come through. I'm just going through this list. Ange, welcome. Sarah, welcome. Everybody come through. Thank you. Stormy, how you doing? All right. Hey Nat, you were trying to finish my last one. I'm trying to finish a lot. You're already hooked and you're starting at the I am. Let me tell you what has happened since I last went live. Um, so let me just say for all of the mods, I've been getting a lot of up church sheep followers. Can you guys just block the? I just don't have time for the up church followers. Just saying, I don't have time for that. So if you guys can please block that fan base, please and thank you. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let me tell you guys what happened, where I'm at right now. All right. I had been receiving some emails from two beautiful subscribers here. And thank you, Chico. And oh, baby bunny. And the emails were something like, "Hey, Rabbit, can you please pay? Like, look in this. If you're not interested, that's fine. Just look at it." And I got the second email today. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, dang, let me look at this email." I had seen the first email and I was just so lost by the story because a lot of what I do is I cover true crime. I don't really, as soon as I saw one of the celebrities' names, I was like, I don't know if I can really cover it. I could try. We've covered celebrities before, but typically I'm more of like true crime, right? So I went in there and I was like, all right, let me look into this. This morning we did a little bit of coverage, and luckily, Yep was in the chat. I've got words. Hit the link, and Miss BJ came up as they were, okay, mommy, as they were explaining the story about what this whole transhumanism virtual reality thing is. There is a woman who runs a company by the name of Lima. She's got a very long name. We'll look at her her name in a minute. She goes by various names. Okay, and her company is Aura, right? It's like a virtual technology for the mental health business, I guess, right? I said, all right, yeah, that's pretty sketch, right? That just, it's sketch. It really is, because somebody like myself who has worked in mental health, um, knowing when you work in a treatment center, right, and you work with services, and you work with residential treatment, right, you know that how complex all of that is, right? And you know that it's not a simple, there's outpatient treatment, there's follow-up, there's in-home services, there's all kinds of experimental therapies, by the way, right? I think some of the newer ones would be like, say, equine therapy, which that's been going on for a couple years, right? People have been using pet therapy, they're experimenting outside of the traditional, hey, let's talk to each other type of services, right? So I was like, all right, well, maybe this is what this is. I had never heard anything about using virtual reality for mental health services, right? So I was a little intrigued. I was like, I sent Miss BJ my resume that I haven't even looked at, because I've been working at the same place for so long. I left my job last October, and I hadn't really updated it, and it was how it was. What I used to do, and whatever. One of the things that I used to do, because I worked in human services, um, was contracts. So I know exactly what these therapeutic treatment providers they charge, especially when they contract with like CPS and all that other stuff. So I'm very familiar, because I would read those contracts, and I would, meet with these providers. So I understand, right? So if somebody is coming to an agency offering like virtual reality as an experimental, and experimental services are out there, it's not like a new norm, right? But when somebody has something as severe like a dual diagnosis, meaning they have maybe let's say bipolar disorder, and they're also using substances, those are two things that definitely require uh, a level of treatment plan, good supervision, good professionals to make sure and ensure that people are actually getting the services that they need, right? I rarely see experimental treatment on something like, say, drug abuse and schizophrenia. Very rarely, very rarely. So it just kind of intrigued me. I said, all right, well, I said, okay, let me put aside all of these allegations. Let me put aside Mr. Bam, okay, from Jackass for a minute, and let me put aside um, just Lima, right, who runs that business. I said, let me just look into um, Aura, Aura, or whatever the hell it's called, and what the American Psychology says about this virtual reality stuff, right? And when I went into the APA or APA, excuse me, the American Psychology Association, right? And I was looking into some research. I said, well, what are they saying? What is this allowed? And this was published. This is an article published in 2018, so a couple years ago, and I haven't seen anything since where virtual reality is being used, right, in various systems in mental health. But these professionals have licenses, doctors, PhDs. They've gone to school, they sat there. So in my mind, I'm thinking one of the businesses that this article mentions is called Limbics, right? And they use various things, but it's very specific to what they're trying to treat. And it's not illnesses that are, say, like neurological or other issues. Like it made me kind of wonder, well, All right, so what would we use something like virtual reality? And this article basically says that they can use it anything for like let me see, let me go back a little bit down, but I mean it can help. All right, it could help with PTSD. Substance abuse was also mentioned out there. It's basically in the real world exposing people to their fears can be an inconvenience and cost prohibitive. So it's like meant to give you kind of like that exposure and put you kind of in the field, right, to address some of the issues that you might have and everything. But it's experimental, right? And usually there's like a follow-up to make sure your EKG and your breathing is tested and everything. So a lot of that I was like, okay, well, is that also being done like in conjunction with say other therapies? What are we doing here, right? Let me see what else I can point out. So these are just tools that the field is experimenting with. This was back in 2018. Proper training required. Oh, proper training required. Okay, gotcha. Yes. Thank you. Aversion therapy. Thank you. Proper training required. Keeping that in mind. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, like, what is that? What does proper training mean? Like, what do clinicians need to have? What do therapists need to have? Right? And like it was even pointed out. Right? Is there good virtual therapy and bad virtual therapy? But it really goes down to who is trained and can this be a valuable tool? Right? I don't see, and this is just a couple of the agencies that are currently using it. Virtual Better, Limbics, which is the one that I went into, is exposure therapy for anxiety-based disorders, relaxation, mindfulness, skill trainings, relapse prevention, and pain management. The Virtual Reality Medical Center, Beyond Care, Clev, is it Clev VR? And so these other ones over here that are mentioned for those that want to check out, the name of the article is called Virtual Reality Expand Its Reach, and it's under the APA website. All right. Yeah, it could be. Accreditation may vary, right? Scholarships sound funny, absolutely, right? No insurance is exactly, and that's the other thing too. So I was wondering. I said, all right, what is Miss one of the questions that I had asked BJ when she was up on my panel, I said, "Oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, can you tell me like who is this girl? Where did this girl come from? Lima." And there wasn't a whole lot of information. Typically, somebody who's in the mental health field, like you could probably, not that I want you guys to do it, but if you put my Google search my legal name, my resume will probably come up. Where I've worked at will probably come up. Whatever else is going to come up, right? And I don't see anything in this girl's background that would even tell me that she is qualified in any mental health anything, right? Maybe a job as a counselor, something, right? Or she worked with people. Like, what made her go into this field? That to me was the biggest red flag, right? And then on top of that, she's got conservatorships on folks, on people, and it's almost like I don't know if people don't see what the conflict is there for those that have granted that, right? The conservatorship, right? So I was like, well, help me understand how this works with the conservatorship, right? And I think part of it is it because the system doesn't really want to deal with some of the mental health that's going around in areas, so it's easy for them to just say, okay, somebody wants to take care of somebody's mental health treatment. Is it cost effective to, I don't know, a society, a community, and whatever? So what we're gonna do is go ahead. If this girl's going to do her virtual, programming to try to help out, yeah, sure, why not? Let's give her the conservatorship, and then she gets on these videos, and then she's asking for scholarship money or funds to support the testing of said individuals while they're promoting this on social media using their test subjects. A case study there, she called her Lima, and this is Lima's words. These are case studies, right? So I'm thinking, okay, case studies. There's a responsibility to that, right? Degree or not, there's a responsibility to that. And somebody needs to hold you accountable to that, to the welfare of whoever is under your watch. So I'm a little like confused as to who or what judge, attorney, professional, advocate, social worker, case manager said that it was okay for this lady who we don't even know how old she is. Some of you guys have speculated 30, 39. She looks a lot younger than I do. I mean, I'm looking at her, maybe it's just her soft spoken demeanor. Who gave her the okay? What judge said it's okay for you to take over the guardianship, the care, the conservatorship of this woman, man, whatever, exploit them on your social media, okay? And we keep using that word, especially in true crime, the word of exploitation. This is exploitive. And that, that is a little bit different, all right? It's one thing for somebody to use their platforms to, say report on content, which is what I do, right? Or talk about true crime or maybe do vlogging, right? But if I were to take, if I have conservatorship over all of you guys, and then I decide, all right, you, I'm going to take you through this treatment, right? That is, it's not like, there's no ethics board to it, experimental, right? There's no certification. I'd like to know who is in charge, who is saying, yes, go this way. I understand that this is Lima's baby. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? If I have a complaint, who do I take it to about that service? Take it to Lima? Take it to social media? Take it to who? And why everybody should be concerned is because, yeah, it might be the population that a lot of people don't think about, like the homeless population, the sex workers, the population that people just tend to feel like, all right, let somebody else deal with that. Let the nonprofit deal with that. Let other folks deal with that, right? But why are they guinea pigs? Anybody can become homeless. And this can happen to anybody, right? Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Conservatorships have very little oversight and seemingly have issues with conflict of interest. And that is the biggest. Like, I mean, I don't think they really care. They just sign it off. It also sounds like, as it pertains to Amanda Rabb's case, it was very easy to have her father, who, by the way, Amanda, before she died, said molested her, right? It was very easy for him to co-sign the BS. We don't know if he was paid. I'm just saying, we don't. And a fundraiser, that is crazy. Now, there's a lot of creators out here in true crime that were like, I felt the same way too. I said, I don't know how to touch this story. I don't know how to touch this story. Truly, I don't. Um, what I would do for those creators that are watching me, I would just try to get your feet a little bit wet by starting with one and then going about the rest. So for me, one of the biggest questions that I started with was, who the hell is this Lima girl? Who is she? Who is she? What are her connections? Who does she know? Why is she able to do all this? How is she able to have conservatorships over people? And yet, by the way, hold up. Let me put this screenshot up here, which I was like, this is crazy. I mean, I'm still a little in shock that this is allowed. This is happening. Let me show you guys this screenshot, okay? Okay. I got a screenshot from BJ Investigates video, which by the way had 1 million views. I was like, oh my God, it's a great, and I messaged her and I said, am I allowed to do a little commentary to it? Right. This is a screenshot from that video of how they're able to kind of force people into treatment. Step one, conservatorship or jail. And I was thinking in my mind, well, how the hell did she like figure this, right? And it sounds like this is the crazy part. I said, well, Miss Lima also has her own family that has dealt with mental health issues. She's got these twin sisters that have mysteriously disappeared from YouTube or the internet. We don't know. Where are these girls? We don't know. Right? It's wow. See? I guess they make appearance with and where are they successful at? On YouTube? Because I saw the YouTube channel, it had less than 12K subs. Like I didn't see it last year. They only posted like what, 6 videos, or the last video was posted 6 years ago? Tell me. Hold up, let me see. Yeah, I didn't think we knew where her sisters were at. They're in Tulsa. I'm not, listen, and I'm not even all the way with the sisters quite yet. I haven't looked into it on YouTube, right? But I haven't seen any more videos from them. Interesting. They had a few viral moments and popular friends. Yes. I have oh, okay. Yeah, where do they go? Where are these two young vibrant women? Does anybody know? Gotcha. And I'm not even there yet. YouTube, but they also did a series called Twins. Small YouTube thing, but the photos are weird and I can send them to your email. Perfect. Thank you so much, love, for doing that if you're able to do that. By the way, my email is here. So I am very much reacting to something that I'm like learning and I feel like, well, let me just capture my my reaction. I heard she's very litigious, but I think I'm asking very good questions. I would like to know what her background is. What aside from being passionate, because to me this is no different than the Elizabeth Home ladies with Theranos. All right. She was very passionate about this little blood, and she told everybody she took bloods, and there were cancer patients that were waiting for treatment, and people like it was a mess, right? So this is very dangerous, right? And we don't know who's endorsing it. And so I think it's important to very much say, like, who's endorsing this? Who are you? What's your background? Have you what's your mental health background? Are you a PsyD? Are you I don't know, are you licensed? An LCSW, an MSW? Are you, what are you? Are you an LPC? You're not? Okay. Do you have a bachelor's in science in any of the fields? Behavioral science, anything? Because I mean, if anybody can wake up and open up Theranos, then I have questions. She's got nothing? Nada? Nada? You're doing the right thing, but she doesn't mind filing frivolous lawsuits. Okay. Well, I'm just using her information, okay? And stating my opinion and questioning, which I think is appropriate. In computer science. I mean, I can give her that. She looks like she's very much, I don't know, she likes the virtual world. I just don't know if that necessarily can work with the mental health field. All the questions she seems to avoid. Why? Why? It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. If I was a professional, right, when I am, but if I was like, I used to sit on a board and I used to authorize services, and a lot of these providers, they want to give you their contracts, they want to show you the program, they know that you can sign off money from the agency and whatever. I used to ask questions. All right, so this is experimental meaning maybe play therapy. I don't know, just something else like that it's not necessarily covered by insurance. And that's always seems to be the theme here. It's not covered by insurance. It's not covered by insurance. Yeah, the majority of therapy isn't. A lot of it is just talk therapy that you can get. But yeah, a lot of services are not covered. Sometimes you do need some financial help uh, to assist with that, right? Or sliding scales or stuff like that. But it made me kind of like, Lord have mercy. So it's like how they force people into this virtual treatment is conservatorship or jail, one or the other. You can't like you don't want to you might as well just say jail because a conservatorship you're taking away people's abilities to say yes, no, please, whatever, like conservatorship or jail. Damn, it's pretty deep. Detox, residential treatment, outpatient sober living plus telehealth, telehealth career plus career pursuit. Thank you for becoming a member. Let me show you guys something. And BJ did give me permission to use a little bit of her video, but I wanted to, this right here really bothered me. This really bothered me. This is Amanda Rabb. And Lima put, which by the way, she's still using Amanda as like a advertisement for her company when your company didn't work for her. The treatment didn't work. The treatment didn't work for her, right? Because she's not able to speak on it, but she's still kind of parading her and all that other stuff. I'm just pointing that out. She says, "It is with a heavy heart that I share with you Amanda has passed away. We changed Amanda's life and showed the world that no matter how far you have sunk into your mental illness or addiction, recovery is possible. Unfortunately, the physical toll mental illness and addiction can have on the body is something we have no control over." So you're okay. On May 9th, 2021, Amanda passed away in her sleep in a residential treatment prior to her release to outpatient care. While her death is still under further investigation, we are awaiting the results of the autopsy. Foul play, self harm, and relapse have been ruled out. This sentence right here, I feel like somebody is like making a joke. Let me tell you why. We change Amanda's life and show the world that no matter how far you have sunk into your mental illness or addiction, recovery is possible. Unfortunately, the physical toll mental illness and addiction can have on your body is something that we have no control over. Like, let me wash my hands because we ain't got no blame over here. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Let me just wash my hands like this. We have no blame over here over what happened to this woman, right? Just saying. She passed away in her sleep in a residential treatment prior to her release to an outpatient care. While her death is still under further investigation, we are awaiting the results of the autopsy. They're waiting the results of the autopsy, but foul play, self harm, and relapse have all been ruled out. They wanted to make sure everybody understood that. This is a very bothersome post. It truly is. Does she realize that? Does she realize how much of an oxymoron this is? It You ain't never lie. It seems like it. I get the sense that that's what it is. It's the skirting of any fault. Um She was under your care. You had rights and everything for her mental health treatment. Yeah, this is the biggest red flag for me when I read this. I said, "Lord have mercy, what?" While her death is still under further investigation, we are awaiting the results of the autopsy. Foul play, self harm, and relapse have all been ruled out. It is believed that in combination with the physical damage caused by her long term drug use, she passed from a TBI she sustained as a result of multiple violent rapes and beatings she endured as a young, homeless woman living on the streets of Los Angeles. Oh. And then further, your donations helped extend Amanda's life and give her a very happy 7 months in treatment. Without you, she would not have had all the opportunities and experiences she did. And most importantly, the ability to find value and love for herself. She died in peace. Because of this sudden tragedy, I'm working on reconstructing mental health care and homelessness in America through Amanda's legacy. I will be speaking about this, and she puts the data when she's speaking on whose channel. If you would like to continue to support the scholarship program, you can donate to the link below. And she's still asking for money, by the way. Once we have reached our goal, we will open up the scholarship program to accept applications from viewers and supporters to make this type of care. This is not the end of Amanda's story, and only the beginning of the impact she's making on disrupting mental health care and transforming the industry. You, what are you? How is she accredited? What outside of your own family? What other experiences do you have? I call BS. I'm sorry, I call BS. She completely used this woman. Lord have mercy. Look at y'all. This is the TBI part threw me off. When did they determine the TBI before or after she died? The what she's writing here, it threw me off completely. I said, no, what? But hey, I mean, I don't know. Um, just weird. Just weird. We don't even know. We could check out her website. We could definitely check out, but it doesn't say. And it's interesting because I know that when was it BJ? I think it was the website. Hold up. It was the website when I went in there, right? And a lot of these here it is. I think one of the centers is located in Nevada, right? Well, a couple years back, this is a story that I remember. There was an issue with Los Angeles mental health services disposing, and I hate to use that word, but they were basically taking patients from their hospitals, right, that had maybe some mental health issues and driving them. They would like they would buy them bus tickets and drive them all the way to Las Vegas. And so Las Vegas was having a severe increase of like mental health population, and they were trying to figure out, well, where are these, like where's everybody coming from? There was a bus that was picking them up from a hospital, driving them all the way to Las Vegas. And I can't even remember, um, hold up, patients in Las Vegas. Let me see if I can bring up, this was a while ago. Thank you. It was 2013. There was a state-run hospital, okay, out of Los Angeles. Oh, and shout out to Miss BJ's mom. I think she's in the comments. Shout out to her. There was a state-run hospital out of Los Angeles. I'll never forget. This was, yes, the shuffle. Thank you. I think that's what they call the shuffle, right? I remember that this was in 2013. I graduated in 2016 from with my master's in social work, right? And in 2013, I was also working in human services, so I kind of knew a little bit of what was going on, and so I would be up to date with everything that's going on, right? There was a state-run hospital in Los Angeles that was greyhounding using the Greyhound, patients from Los Angeles all the way to Las Vegas, because Las Vegas was seeing an increase in their like mental health patients. They were getting all these people there. Yes, you can look it up. There's a lot of research out there about this. And they got caught up, and there were actual there was footage of these patients being taken to the bus, okay, and then taken all the way to Las Vegas. And so Las Vegas, we don't even know how many people were there, but Las Vegas is kind of like the hub for a lot of this out there. So I'm not surprised that there's experimental mental health services out there like this. I'm just not, because I've heard of it before. Yes, a lot of, if you guys listen, they did a whole investigation about it. A lot of small towns, they were doing this. They were busing the homeless. They were taking them all the way out there. They did, Vic. I saw that. I saw that. Definitely. I don't know if it's necessarily I mean, they definitely make them vulnerable for trafficking. It's wow, Kim. Okay. Wow. Florida, but one in Las Vegas, yes. So I'm not surprised that these businesses exist. Now, I was looking at the reviews. I said, all right, well, who is, like, are people actually, are mental health professionals actually using this service? I mean, I told you what the APA said, right? That there's a virtual reality to help assist with some of the stuff, right? I saw that. But some of this, the clinicians are trained, and they are clinicians, excuse me. They went to school for that. Um, but I just didn't quite like I'm like, well, who's using this? And there's actual reviews on this website. The system isn't complicated. Hold up. I like that it can be programmed accordingly and made to fit specific needs of the patients. The potential of the system seems endless. I see it being very household and would eventually have once dot 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 dot. Some case manager, it doesn't say what treatment center, just says some case manager out of Nevada. I mean, are these employees of this company? They're the employees are writing their own reviews. If the person that's providing the treatment, right, or running the this thing, also giving it to the people she holds conservatorships over, I mean, I guess, what is the ethics? What do we have here? Right? Yes, I think this has really been implemented to cash. Mm. And let me tell you something. Um, contracts, mental health services are needed, right? It is a very hard field to work in. It's huge burnout, huge burnout. We don't have a lot of licensed people out there. So, yeah, people will try anything, and people need services. But this isn't accredited, this isn't reviewed. I don't even see an ethics board being a part of it. I don't see anything that I would be like, dang, this is definitely, what data do they have to even support that they have had any success stories? Who are these patients? Are they just picking patients out of Skid Row? Is that where people are picking? Who are your patients? Yes. Thank you. Huge burnout. Huge burnout. Where health has money to be made or lost, it becomes something else simple, because choices actually are political in design and purpose. Funding, very much so. Kickbacks, helpful or very dangerous if abused. It does. It does. This is why I'm so thankful I got the power of an attorney over my daughter mental health. Thank you, God. Yes. I think this really been implemented to cash in a shortage of behavioral mental health providers and clinicians. Yeah. So it's very easy to say, find like the Elizabeth Holmes to take over a situation. That's what is really concerning to me, is that um, have we not learned from what happened with Theranos, right? Is this the new Theranos for mental health? Just it's a legit question. What do they have to show that this is going to work? We don't even know if the sisters took this stuff, right? Thank you, SW, for the $5. Behavioral health is a hard job and pays less than minimum wage. It is very sad and as a very needed profession, in my opinion. Yes, this has been manufactured, making people homeless by not being allowed to work during COVID. More vulnerable people to control than killing them off by introducing them fentanyl. Have you? Who's been advertising it? Outside of the people that have talked about it, the underbelly guy? That is cringy. Who else? Can you tell me who else has been advertising? Really? People are desperate for help. So let me go a little bit to hold up. And by the way, this is the study of when the shuffle, I guess is what you would call it for those where people were being bussed. I remember the one in Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and that was a huge thing. Okay, let me stop and I got too many things open. This is what happens. This is for those it's interesting because people have not really seen this documentary. We're not going to watch this whole thing. We're just kind of skimming through. This was so very well done. And shout out to BJ because I've never watched this until today. And I was like, I don't know what to make of this. And even then I'm like, what do you make of this? The connections, the research between all these, like, the moving parts. Has everybody seen this?
Produce the videos that you see on my channel, Soft White Underbelly.
Mark gets into people's stories, those living on the fringes, drug addicts, prostitutes, gang members. You shot thousands of videos. You're super prolific.
4,000 so far.
4,000, okay.
Wow.
I spent most of my career helping wealthy corporations become even wealthier. I wanted to do something that mattered more in the world. Amanda, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Do you see that you're kind of getting worse and worse every time we speak? You're going to do it.
It's so sad to see her in all these videos. You have to go back and watch all the videos. It is very sad to see her just the videos, every image. Right. Right.
Whatever it takes to get your money for crack. So if your dad might give you a little bit of cash. All right, so Lima Yabramovich. You have a company
Crazy.
called Aura.
Amanda is the most difficult case. We're going to be documenting exactly how we're getting Amanda into treatment. The way that you get somebody that doesn't want to get help into treatment is through something called an LPS conservatorship. It feels like a betrayal to that person, but at the same time, Amanda's in a safe place now.
This is dangerous. This is very dangerous. For those that don't know the video, I'm going to make sure I link it in the description box. I'm also going to drop it in the chat. It's called Virtual Reality Hell, the Amanda Rabb story. She does a 2-part on it. It is dangerous. Okay? Right. The most difficult case. Way to describe your patient, which is it your patient? What is she to you if you have conservatorship? Is it your patient? Is it somebody you're taking care of? Is it your guinea pig? Somebody that you use for promotion of your organization? It is very dangerous.
She had passed away. It's been a really, really big shock for us.
I recommend that you guys watch it. It's very sad. I'm not going to play this whole thing. I just wanted to show a little bit of it. Yeah, I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. It needs to be talked about. Yes. Is she the new Elizabeth Holmes? The Theranos lady. You know, the one that is facing prison time? I think she is. It's very scary. She dies. Okay. And there's a series of interviews where Amanda tells everybody that if she's in prison now, well, there you go. Amanda tells everybody that that her father molested her. And somehow he's involved in the signing of this conservatorship, right? I don't know how that's allowed. Okay. We don't know. Give me one sec, guys. How is that okay? How is that permitted? I don't know. She does. Well, there you go. This is why I say if those creators want to talk about this, y'all should just touch it, get your feet wet a little bit. There's so many parts to this for sure, for sure. And then they spread her ashes in the ocean. Then there's this actor who's in charge, who's like the director of Aura, her company. No mental health, like what? So are these mental health professionals or not? It's creepy. I don't understand. Yes, interesting. So now I'm curious. This is just not making sense. None of it is. None of it is making sense. Absolutely not.
As the petitioner. The petitioner on a conservatorship is usually the person who wants to be the conservator. But again, it was sealed, so we have no 100% way of knowing whether it was Lima. I can say with certainty now, Lima was his guardian in a Maricopa County conservatorship. So the next thing was Googling her to see if I could find any information out on her. One of the very first results that came up for Lima was her appearance on a YouTube channel called Soft White Underbelly. Now, this YouTube channel is run by a photographer called Mark Lata. Basically, what I was able to figure out is he interviews people mainly in the Skid Row area. A lot of the people who he interviews are without homes.
There's a lot of YouTube channels like that. They go film the homeless. They do interviews. I've seen a lot of channels grow off of that, where they just interview them and they follow up with them. It's kind of like it's a little weird, I think, in my opinion. I mean, it's not something that I would do, but it's a little off. It's a little off.
They often struggle with substance use issues, dependence, etc.
People say, "Oh, what you're doing is exploitive," all the time.
It's crazy.
Look, a hotel, the hotel I'm staying at while I'm here in Tampa, they're exploiting my need to sleep. So the restaurant that I had breakfast at is exploiting my hunger. Everything is exploitive. Yes.
Well, the restaurant's exploiting me. The place that I'm at is exploiting me. My car, the people that fix my car are exploiting me. Just weird. All of it is weird. His logic is very baffling, right? All of it. I've seen more people doing homeless interviews, usually middle-aged men interviewing women, creepy as AF. It is creepy. I'm just saying, I noticed that's a trend now. There's a lot more channels that are, I think there's one. It's a little creepy that these channels are doing interviews of homeless folks and everything. Very condescending. Very condescending, Shaby. No worry. Um, right, Karen. So he knows how to make his money. He's been giving permission to do what he wants. Yes. He did a series. Did he? Okay. Interesting. Funny because I never saw the film of him sleeping or showering in his hotel. Did I see that right? How are they, Kate? Kate's like, how is the hotel exploiting you?
They're exploitive. If I take a drug addict and I do an interview with her, she takes the hit because she's been made to look bad. No, I didn't trick her into doing that. She came to me, or I might have asked her and said, but I tell everybody right up front, like, this is going to be on YouTube. How much drug addiction can you actually watch?
And he gives, okay.
It's like, so but people love those. You put up a attractive female heroin addict, that'll get a lot of views. So it's all that. Let me just get this straight. The sun and the government will make me extra horny if I have sex with you.
Yeah. You notice how she's like, they're not even giving her a shirt. Y'all see what she's wearing? I mean, it's crazy. Amber, thank you for the $20. At least he's being honest. Right? At least he's being honest. Yes, she definitely did. Shout out to her. I'm glad it's like all the work to it, but I really want like other channels to talk about this. I really hope so. I mean, I'm just this little channel over here. I hope to bring at least some awareness to it. Really? I had no idea. No idea. Interesting. Oh man.
What are you doing tonight?
Crazy.
I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not trying to make anybody happy. Some people say, oh, I hate these Appalachian people. Stop doing that. Get back to the drug addicts. And other people say these Appalachian things are great. That's all I watch. I don't give a fuck. I've been a photographer since I was 14. And I spent most of my career doing advertising work. So I'm basically helping wealthy corporations become even wealthier.
There you go. Purpose. Helping wealthy corporations become even wealthier. How are you doing, Lima? How's that wealth going for you?
Patients in triggering environments.
So she talks about her company Aura, which is a digital health startup. But essentially what the startup does is uses virtual reality goggles on people with drug addiction. And I quickly discover that Lima and Mark had teamed up to help one of Mark's subjects.
So how do we know that these subjects, the videos, these interviews, people that that he's interviewing, that's not how they're handpicking the vulnerable people that are there? These people are vulnerable, right? That's the vulnerable population that you're using to target.
Lima ended up being in charge of this subject's life, and now this subject, whose name is Amanda Rabb, was dead. I start looking into Lima, and turns out this is not her only and first startup. She had some company, at least one, maybe two. It seemed like the type of program you could do to shorten your jail time or something, and that's all I was able to tell factually. Now, what I can speculate is that Lima was looking for a targeted group of test subjects. And prisoners seem easy, right? Because she could have easily gotten government funding if she was helping prisoners. So that didn't work. I don't know why. That was just my assumption. And then you see Aura.
Probably because you'd have to be like accredited or licensed when you're doing that. There's certain parts of this, like you just working with humans, you kind of have to be, especially when you're asking for money, you have to show some credentials or something. That's interesting. Right. Ooh, baby bunny is so loud. All right. Give me 1 second. I mean, if these people are out there, yeah, you do. So,
all right. So Lima Yavramovich. You have a company called Aura. And what do you guys do?
So we're all about data-driven healing. Our goal is to use technology to scale affordable, high-quality treatment services. We also use virtual reality, so we can put patients in triggering environments. And, for example, we put a patient in a bar.
Walking VIP, don't need no drink, sick his buddy.
Or for our veterans, we put them in a war zone. They're just not willing to let someone in. So you kind of have to find a way to gain their trust.
Lima kept mentioning a woman named Amanda.
Amanda is the most difficult case. We're going to be documenting exactly how we're getting Amanda into treatment.
Something else has happened with Amanda that kind of helped, right?
Yes.
She ended up in jail.
Exactly.
Once I figured out that there were like 15 or 16 different videos in this Amanda, Lima, Mark Leta series of events, I began to watch them in order. My first question was, who is this Amanda person Lima keeps referencing? Because I had never seen Soft White Underbelly before. I didn't watch the channel. So on December 14th, 2019, the first video of Amanda appears on Soft White Underbelly. She says a number of things in that first video. First of all, she off the bat calls her father a molester and says that is the reason why she had to move out from living.
And that's the concerning part. How, if she made these allegations on her father, how is he even able to make decisions about her, on her? That's the crazy. I can't get my mind out of that. And as I was watching that, I said, "Oh my God!" Like I just cannot believe any mental health professional. You would put the patient first, what they need. They failed her. Whatever it is that they were trying to do, they failed that girl. So I don't know, for them to parade her and continue to put her everywhere on their website, on her IG account, they failed her. That's what they did. They never really thought, okay, like, is there more to this? They immediately wanted to discredit the allegations that her father had molested her, right? Because Amanda is just crazy and doesn't have the right to think for herself or be accounted, right? Doesn't deserve her own right. Exactly. They took her, and they still do. They failed that girl. They really did. They act like she's a success story, and then she still goes out there and uses, after she has died, uses her as a success story. What? And what's so crazy is that even the series of all these videos that she's doing, nobody really thought about, like, hey, this ain't right. Nobody got involved. Nobody cared enough. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's a great question. That's what it seems like. I mean, what is this? Is everybody an experiment? The last time that the APA wrote about any type of virtual anything, as far as even as a recommendation, and that they have to be trained professionals, I don't even. This girl doesn't have a profile to show that. She doesn't show where she went to school. She doesn't show like what she studied on, any mental health, any biology courses at the very least, like anything. Mm-mm. No, it's one big video game. That's scary. We should all be very concerned about that. That makes that population very vulnerable. We should all be very much concerned about that. Exactly. Exactly. It's a very specific right. And I had even mentioned that too earlier. I was like, isn't that like, serial killers, you have those that target, say, the homeless population or sex workers or something like that. It's very specific. And I think it's very liberal. That it seems to me that they just sign off of this, because when I pulled the website, and before I head out, just so I could show you guys, this is straight out of the where'd it go? Damn it, did I close that? I think I did. I'm gonna show you guys the um LPS conservatorship, okay? And this is just out of Santa Monica, okay? Here it is. It's if the adult you're trying to help is not gravely mentally ill, see the conservatorship section of this website. If the adult you're trying to help is developmentally disabled, see the limited conservator ship section of this website. So this explains to you a little bit of what a conservatorship is. She kept phrasing LPS, okay? LPS, County of Santa Clara, Superior Court of California. All right. And this is just giving us like definitions and stuff like that. So the mental health LPS conservatorship makes one adult called the conservator responsible for the mentally ill adult called the conservator E, right? Conservatorships are only for adults with mental illness listed in the diagnosis or the DSM, okay? So the most common illnesses are, this is interesting because if you look at the autopsy report, right? I was trying to figure out like if Amanda had schizophrenia, who diagnosed her with schizophrenia? I'm not talking about Era or Aura, whatever the hell it's called. I'm not talking about Lima. Who diagnosed her with schizophrenia before? What doctor? And that would have had to been a PhD, okay? Who diagnosed her with that? Nobody knows. So then when they did the autopsy report, did they just interview them about what was wrong with her? And then the person that took the autopsy, were they just taking down notes? Oh, she has schizophrenia. She's in the center. Who diagnosed her with that? That requires a diagnosis. And she's 25. So did she present with those, the symptoms in her teenage years? Because typically it appears later when you're 25 years old. I'm saying because I've seen it before. That's a red flag. What psychiatrist, what professional diagnosed this girl with schizophrenia? There would need to have been documentation. Children don't even necessarily get, let me pull something up actually before I even speak out of my head. Because there was changes to the DSM to ensure that children were very carefully diagnosed with like these mental health illnesses, right? They don't typically say so and so is diagnosed with this, right? Who diagnosed her? There would need to be documentation and record of this. How many hospitalizations has she had? How many times did she go to outside of Aura? How many other mental health facilities did she go to? That is a huge diagnosis to have. Typically, there's a history. Is there somebody else in the family that was suffering with schizophrenia before saying that this is schizophrenia? Or did they just give her that label? Where did this diagnosis come from? That's where the investigation needs to happen. That's where somebody really needs to pull her records. Yep, exactly. That's my point. There would need to be well documented history before that diagnosis. There would need to be several hospitalizations. I'm just saying, like, where did this diagnosis come from? Was that before she went to that aura or after? School counselor can't give a diagnosis for schizophrenia. That should have been a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Those are some real questions. That is like, I'm just saying. So when they mention here that in LPS, most common serious illnesses are biological brain disorders. Okay. schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, manic depression, schizoaffective, clinical depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder. And this is just giving us the rundown of it. If you guys want to look into it, feel free. But go out there and do some research. There would need to be. Well, I'm thinking, is she what is her? Did she give that diagnosis? Who gave her this? Who gave this girl the diagnosis? Was her dad the one that gave her the diagnosis? The one that she accused of molestation as an adult? Something's off. Something's completely off about what happened to Amanda Rabb. I'm just saying. Depression from my previous job and losing it from injury, they told me they would not give me a diagnosis because it would prevent me from owning. Ooh, your own pew pew? Yeah, you can't make diagnoses if you have a political science degree. Great degree, but you can't make diagnoses on that. I have a criminology degree. I can't make diagnoses on that. Can't, I can't say, I could say somebody, even with my MSW, I can't, I'm not licensed to do that. I'm not a clinical licensed social worker. I'm just an MSW. That's it. But I can't give those diagnoses. But I know what goes behind. I know what happens. She doesn't, Vic. That was my question: is what degree does she have? She doesn't. So where did this verbiage of schizophrenia come about? Did she use drugs? I can give you that. Maybe she was a drug user. Okay. But where did schizophrenia come about? And that is where the investigation really needs to happen. Who gave her that diagnosis? Did it come from this, uh, virtual clinic, from virtual reality life? Doesn't make sense. Or do they have a doctor in there that gave her that diagnosis? Then I would have a concern too, because I'd want to know, why did you give her that diagnosis, but she hadn't been diagnosed before? Makes me wonder. That's interesting. Those are some dangerous medications to take. Just a little thought. We're not going to play that BJ's video. I recommend that you guys watch it, because watch that first one. If you don't watch anything else, because there's other parts to this clearly, and we'll look at those other parts during the week. But this is the one I definitely recommend you guys start there, and then there's a part 2, and I'm going to make sure I link those videos into my description box. Shout out to BJ. Shout out to BJ's mom. I think she was in the chat. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Uh, the best way we can do, I think, is just keep talking about it to bring awareness. We just want answers. We don't want another Theranos situation where a young girl has a dream and then does all this, and then it's like, oh my God, well, what is her background? She doesn't have a background. She didn't do this. It's not real. That situation. That is concerning to me. The fact that nobody's talking about it, that is concerning to me. And if she's in cahoots with other YouTubers, that's another concern to me as well. We just have to call it out. All right. I will let you guys go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I have to go tend to a little baby bunny over there. And I will see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.